Hi everyone, I'm just it's sort of like a conversation video. I'm just picking up the cards from I just finished doing Libra, which will come out tomorrow, and wow, it's quite the reading. And I'm gonna get ready to do Scorpio, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about, so at the time that I'm making this, hi Lily, come honey. My little dog Lily just came in. At the time of making this, we're experiencing really intense forest fires here in Canada. It's pretty much from coast to coast right now. I know it's not really hitting the news much, like BC's still got forest fires going on. But of course, I don't think the smoke is affecting people as strongly there, so it's not making the news, but it's still happening. And the big ones right now that are making the news, I guess, when it affects America, it makes the news. It's kind of how it works. And so yeah, the fires that are going on right now in Northern Ontario and Quebec, and it's the smoke. And so I've had some thoughts about this, and it's really interesting because I do want us. So the conversation that we're going to have right now is kind of very symbolic, and it's not to state that I am trying to be insensitive about the danger that's associated with this too, because it is very dangerous, both for people that are living in the areas where the fires are occurring and for people that are living in the areas where the smoke is going. And not to mention just, Canada is just such a vastly wilderness area with so much forestry and wildlife that obviously that is destroyed in the process as well. So I hope everyone is careful. Everyone will be okay. So kind of putting that out there, and then to hopefully be able to have a discussion here where we can look at this a little differently. Because I keep seeing it sort of like in my mind's eye, and it's in a way, it's kind of a beautiful symbol of nature and the cycles of that and how we exist in it. And so one of the things that I keep seeing with this is literally like a giant smudge. It looks like a giant smudge to me, like when I look at the imagery and the satellite images, and it's like, I kind of want to say that it's almost like the forests of Canada are smudging North America right now. Again, I'm not like making light of the situation. I'm just like the symbolism of it. And I'm quite frankly, like, we always get in the way of nature. So this is kind of how it works. And then we get upset when, we could be harmed by it. But planet Earth is who she is, she's got to do what she's got to do. And I know when I channeled about like these fires, I guess about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, and they did worry me. So I'm still like, I hope everybody is going to be okay, obviously. But at the time when I was channeling that, okay. So at the time when I had channeled the original message about the fires, one of the things that came through, actually, I don't have the deck in front of me that I used to do it, but there was a ton of overgrowth in the picture, and it was basically, the message did come out like, this is something that nature needs to do, because there's things that need to be able to start growing that aren't growing. And it's really funny because, well, there's a card that's on the table right now, Clear Out the Clutter, and it's come out, I think, a couple times so far this week in the readings, and it is kind of like that. It is kind of like showing up as a symbolism of new growth. So I guess where I'm going with this is, I feel like, I think myself, because I've just thought about, like, I suddenly just had this idea about how I wanted to do my readings. And if you've noticed this week, I've changed it a little bit in terms of, you kind of see me shuffling it out, you zoom in, and then you just zoom into me doing the reading. And it feels really good for me. Like, there's been different ways that I've tried to incorporate that into my videos and my editing and the final product that you get to see on here. And as a first time for me, where even though in a way, I guess it's a little more work, it actually feels easier and more efficient. So like, wow, it's kind of cool. And it all happened at around the same time this is going on. And the smoke and the fires. And I really do feel like there is something very spiritual about it. I mean, I just think of like indigenous cultures around the world that, you know, work with fire and smoke in terms of purification, and all sorts of different stuff. But anyways, I just, you know, I think this is a good opportunity to really kind of do an assessment, try something creative that you've not created before, follow your instinct, follow your intuition. And yeah, as long as like we take precautions, we take action when we need to take action if we're obviously close to a fire. And, you know, we take precautions. We're taking precautions, like right at my son's school, they're not having outdoor recess. And here, I did purchase. I'm not encouraging anyone to spend money that they don't have. But if you do, you know, it'd be a good idea. I did purchase a couple of air filters for the house. And I've noticed a significant difference inside the house, which is nice. It's like just, you know, do the things that are logical to do where you can do them. But still, like, to look at this as an opportunity, I think, of, like, what does a smudge do? It clears out toxins. I just think there's something so symbolic about the untouched, in a lot of areas, completely untouched, and so remote. Like Canada, I think like 90% of the Canadian population lives within 50 miles of the US border, the Canada-US border. Like, it's just, you know, a lot of people have no idea how vast Canada is and how much forest is there. It's just, it's smudging North America. It literally is. It's like this untouched place in nature that is smudging North America. Not to say that all the fires are taking place in that way. Like, some of these are near towns and whatnot too. But there's something really symbolic here that I think, you know, I would feel like I missed the opportunity to talk about it right now while it's happening. And yeah, and just see it for yourself. Like, and I'm also not encouraging you to go out and bathe in it either, because it's not healthy. And it also, though, it symbolizes to me, like, even just, you know, seeing little news clips in the US, like there's even schools that aren't even open, and it's quite bad. It's interesting that where the fire and the smoke is coming from is not as bad as where it's actually ending up. So it's ending up in some really big cities, like in New York. That's the one that I'm seeing the most on the news. And I guess just because it's kind of an alignment longitudinally, is that right with me? Latitude, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, yeah, I think so. So it's in the same time zone. So it's yeah, like, where was it going? I said, actually, something I said, I think it was in the cancer reading. I said, I feel like my synapses, like my brain is like new connections are being made. And every once in a while, like, it's just like, it's gone. And then I'm somewhere else, like with my thoughts. Quite an intriguing period of time, actually, to be honest. Right now, I'm experiencing it in this. And just the way that I'm looking at this, like a giant smudge that's taking place over North America. But yeah, there's so much of it that's going like further south into very densely populated places. But what I was going to say is, yeah, don't go out and say, oh, Cindy said this is very symbolic, I should smudge myself with it. Because it's not. Like, this stuff can really get into your lungs. It's heavy concentrations of all sorts of gases. And I'm not an expert on this. It's wood smoke. But, you know, there's going to be so many different things that just burn. They're just burning. I sound like I'm rambling on, and maybe I am a little bit. But that's all part of the purge as well, perhaps. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of put that out there. And actually, here, I'm picking up let's just see. Here we are. Picking up the cards from the Libra read. I want you to see. So you gotta wait. That's gonna come out tomorrow. It's, actually, it's finished processing. It's uploading right now. And I'm just getting ready to do Scorpio, which actually very funny that I would sit here and do that, because it was in the Scorpio reading where I was, 3 or 4 weeks ago, got the message about the fires. And I just sat with it for like a split second and said, can I continue with the Scorpio reading and pick this up later? And I was kind of got a confirmation. And then I did the reading later. But that's where it came from. It came from the Scorpio. So it's almost like a full circle too. Here we are in that. Yeah, so let's just, I don't know, anything that Spirit wants to add to this in this conversation about the smoke and the symbolism of it and the great change. Oh shit. Snake Spirit, 55. Time to heal. I love that too, because 5s for me in the tarot are an energy of, you know, things needing to transform and change, like shedding a skin. Shedding a skin. Oh, one of the things is coming back to me now that I wanted to say too about, you know, when things close down, like some of the schools in New York and other areas like that where, you know, you can't even go outside. They're just telling people not to go outside. It's honestly, it's reminding me a bit of the pandemic, the starts of it, where we were all in lockdown. You all had to stay inside and the earth just stood still for a minute, you know? There's a little bit of that happening because there's a lot less activity that's going on. And I think we get so caught up in always needing to progress, always needing to move forward, that we're always moving forward so quickly that we forget to stop for a second to shed our skin. And that's literally kind of like what this sort of feels like the opportunity of it right now. And that's kind of the perfect card. Oh, look, I picked up all of the ones except Crow Spirit here. That's funny. You didn't get shuffled in because we're creating with yeah. All right, one more as we check out here, and then I'm gonna finish cleaning up the table and do the Scorps reading, which will come out tomorrow. Any last words from the universe regarding the giant smudge? It is a giant smudge, and I do feel like it's going to go on for most of this. It's clearing out the clutter. Just repeating myself at this time. Spirit's like, yeah, we've said enough, we've said it all. But yeah, it was one of the things that I was saying too with the filters that I got. They have charcoal, HEPA, and a screen. It's something I'd already sort of thought about already because I have a cat and a dog and the litter box. And I just thought, you know, myself, I just enjoy fresh air, clean air. So I thought, you know, it's something I thought about, and this is a good excuse to get one now. So it does filter on many different levels. Because, yeah, I'm not going to lie, like I do, you know, as much as I can look at this symbolically, it is very disheartening because I am sort of like a nature baby. I spent my time up at my grandparents' as a kid, just barefoot in the gutter of the dirt road, finding salamanders and walking through the old farm field, staring at the cows. And you know, I really love nature, and it is painful to see it destroyed and people that have lost homes as well. It's always the hardest point is at the loss, right? And that's hard to understand what was the point of it. But then when the regrowth starts, then, you know, and then that starts to continue to grow, that's when you can kind of look back on it and go, well, I guess it was a reason for it. So yeah, that's all I had to share with y'all. Oh, and I love that. Hummingbird, be here now. So, okay, don't project either. Like, be in the moment. Be in this smudge right now. Be in the moment. Take precautions as you need to take precautions. Again, this is not like me saying you should go out there and just bathe in this. Don't do that. It's not good for you. And obviously, my heart goes out to anybody that is directly affected by this. Yeah. So, everybody, be safe. And, yeah, be gentle with yourselves. Bye.